Hello everyone, welcome to this channel, the Science Plus TV. So today's topic is the solid state, which is really important topic for the senior secondary classes. Although we study about this topic in our previous classes, but here we will discuss this solid state in a bit detail. Okay, so before starting my lesson, I want to wish all the very best for your exams. Prepare well, revise all the things thoroughly, and be well prepared for your examinations. So here I am going to help you a bit with this topic, the solid state. So let us start now. So students, we have from the very beginning we have studied that there are three states of matter. Okay, solid, liquid and gas, right? Their properties are different, their molecular arrangement is different. In solids we have closed packing, in liquids the particles are free to move a bit, and in gases they are completely free. Right? So in this concept we have studied that just because of these features the solids possess definite mass, volume, shape, high density, rigidity, low compressibility and a lot of mechanical strength. Okay, on the other hand the fluids, that is the liquids and gases, they do not possess such kind of things. So here we are going to take the topic solids in detail. So first of all, broadly if we say what are solids? Solids are simply that phase of a substance, means that state of matter which shows first of all the fixed volume, fixed shape. You cannot compress them easily because the particles are very closely packed, and that is why the constituent particles give it that particular shape, high density, rigidity. These particles are held together by very strong forces. Because there are strong forces between the particles, that's why they have fixed positions. But in spite of that, the particles can vibrate at their own place. They can vibrate or oscillate under certain conditions. Okay, so now we will move towards the types of solids. There are basically two types of solids. The first one is crystalline solid, and the second one here is amorphous. Okay, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. These are very important topics, students. You need to understand. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the crystalline solids. In a crystalline solid, you see the constituent particles. Constituent particles can be atoms, they can be molecules, or they can be ions. Okay, these have fixed three-dimensional arrangement. In case of crystalline solids, we have the constituents present at fixed three-dimensional network. Okay, so they show a long range order. Long range order means when you observe the patterns of the arrangement, you can see the same pattern over long distances within the substance. Okay, on the other hand, okay, we have some examples. For the crystalline solids, we have the examples of the crystal of sodium chloride and the crystal of quartz. Quartz crystal is very important. It is used in making the watches, the wrist watches, the wall clocks. They are made using quartz crystal because it is a crystalline solid, and it really helps to remove the very minute errors. Okay, we will discuss this also later. Talking about the amorphous solids, the particles are arranged irregularly. There is no regular arrangement of constituents. No regular arrangement of the constituents. So their periodic repeated means their periodic repetition is very less often. So they are short range. They show a short range order, while the crystalline solids they show the long range order. This means that you will find the particular pattern over very short distances within the amorphous solid. Okay. Another difference which is important, that they give the clean cleavage when cut, but amorphous solids, they do not give a regular cleavage. Moreover, the crystalline solids are anisotropic. The crystalline solids are anisotropic. Anisotropy is a property where you will find the different values for certain characteristics, certain physical quantities like refractive index, etc. You find them different in different directions. So crystalline solids are anisotropic, while the amorphous solids are isotropic. Okay, so that are some major differences between crystalline and amorphous solids. So due to all these reasons, the crystalline solids are also known as the true solids, and the amorphous solids are either supercooled liquids, or they are also known as the pseudo-solids. Okay, so these are the crystalline solids are the true solids, while amorphous solids are the supercooled liquids or the pseudo-solids. Okay, the examples for amorphous solids can be plastic, rubber, glass, wood, etc. Plastic, rubber, or the simple glass, and wood also. Okay, so that was all about. Now, classification of solids can be done on the other many bases, right? So we can classify the solids like the metallic. There is another classification. In that other classification, we have the metallic solids. We have metallic solids. We have ionic crystals, metallic crystals, ionic crystals. Then we have the molecular and covalent. Covalent crystals are also known as the network solids. So there is one more classification for crystals. Let's just have a glance of all these. So first of all, when we talk about the metallic solids, metallic solids are having the constituent particles as the positive ions, because the metallic crystals are made up from the cations of the cations of metals with the delocalized or with the electron clouds. You can just understand this, that there is a huge ocean of positive ions. There is a huge ocean of electrons in which the cations of the metal are embedded. Positive ions of the metals are embedded. So these are the constituent particles for metallic solids. The attractive forces are simply the metallic bond. The examples, all the metals, iron, copper, you have silver, you have magnesium. Okay, these are all the metallic crystals. Right, these are generally hard, malleable and ductile. Now malleability and ductility, the properties. Malleability is the property to be beaten into sheets, and ductility is the property of getting stretched into wires. Right. Then we have the ionic crystals. Ionic crystals, the constituent particles, as the name is showing to you, ions. In the case of ionic crystals, we have the constituents, the ions, right? There we have the electrostatic forces, obviously, because the ions are having positive charges and negative charges. So the forces between them will be the electrostatic forces, right? Their examples are simple. Sodium chloride, okay, zinc sulfide, magnesium oxide. All these are the examples of these ionic solids, right? Ionic solids are generally hard, but they are not ductile or malleable. You see, sodium chloride is not ductile. It is a brittle substance. It breaks easily. When you try to beat them, then they break easily, right? So they are hard but brittle, right? They are insulators in solid state. So that's a very important point. The metallic crystals are very good electrical conductors. Okay. They are electrical conductors in the solid state as well as molten state. When we talk about the ionic crystals are electrical conductors in their molten state or aqueous state only. Because in that case, the ions gets dissociated and they start to conduct electricity. They help to conduct the charge, right, and becomes the conductors. But when they are in the solid state, the ions are present at fixed position in the three-dimensional space and they are not free to move, hence they cannot carry charge. If you try to do electrolysis of sodium chloride in its solid dry form, there will be no reaction. The electrolysis is possible only when you take fused sodium chloride, molten sodium chloride, or its aqueous solution, right? Then we will talk about the molecular crystals. Molecular crystals are of different types. You see, they can be polar, they can be non-polar, and they can be hydrogen bonded. They are polar, non-polar, or they can be hydrogen bonded. Right? So first of all, the polar molecular crystals, they show dipole-dipole interactions. You see, there are dipoles in a... Now what is a dipole? When there is a separation of positive and negative charge within a molecule, then it is a dipolar molecule, right? So we have dipole-dipole interactions between the polar molecular crystals, which is the attractive bond. Okay, and here we have the examples of HCl, hydrogen chloride you can take, right? SO2 you can take. So these are what? polar molecular crystals. When we talk about the non-polar molecular crystals, there are the attractive forces called London forces or the dispersion forces. London forces. Here we have dipole-dipole interaction in case of polar molecules, and in case of non-polar molecules there are simple London forces or dispersion forces, which are weak forces, as we all know. The examples for non-polar molecular crystals are CO2, carbon tetrachloride, CCl4, you have argon. So these are what? These are the non-polar molecular crystals. Now we come to the हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डेड मॉलिक्यूलर क्रिस्टल. सो सबसे पहला नाम जो हमारे ब्रेन में आता है हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डेड, जो हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग है, दैट वी स्टडी मोस्टली इन वाटर मॉलिक्यूल. सो एग्जांपल इज वाटर मॉलिक्यूल एंड द अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स इज विच वन? हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड. Here we have hydrogen bonding within the molecules, and hence hydrogen bonded molecular crystals, they have hydrogen bond as the attractive force within them. Okay, now lastly but not the least is the covalent or network crystals. Let's discuss them. Here we have the constituents. Constituents are simply the atoms. Okay, atoms are the constituents, and as the name suggests, the attractive forces are the covalent bonds. I hope you people know the covalent bond, but still I'll just recall this concept. Covalent bond is a bond which is made by sharing of electrons. Okay, when two or more atoms they share their electrons amongst each other, then the bond formed between them is called as a covalent bond. Here we have the examples of this covalent crystal. The covalent crystal is diamond, means carbon. Okay, carbon, the both forms, diamond as well as graphite. Okay, these both are the covalent crystals, right? Other than them, silicon carbide, SiC, and silicon dioxide, that is quartz. This is also what? This is also a covalent crystal. So students, today we have studied about the classification of solids. Let us just recapitalize quickly. We have seen crystalline and amorphous solids. That's a very important topic. Please pay attention towards this, because this topic you will study till you will study the solid state. Okay, in chemistry. And then we have the another classification according to which I have shown you the 4 types of crystals: metallic crystals, ionic crystals, molecular crystals, and covalent or network crystals. Here we have another classification of molecular crystals where the constituents are simply molecules, right? So here we have polar molecular crystals, non-polar molecular crystals, and hydrogen bonded molecular crystals. Okay students, so that's all for today. You can take these brief notes also, and you can make them in your own language so that you can memorize the things easily. So all the very best. Saying this, I'm going to complete the topic of today. I'm going to wind up the topic of today, and I want to remind you people not to forget to subscribe my channel. Share these videos so that you can benefit, your friends can benefit, the friends of friends can benefit from it. Okay, thank you.